Hi, just quickly going to show how to create a new widget. Here we had a canvas. This is kind of like a base canvas. You could use any canvas. I could have done it onto this canvas, but I've just created a new canvas to which I add the canvas that we want to be the widget. Okay, so we add a canvas to that. Now this canvas we can use as the prefab. The reason being, it'll create those errors if you didn't. These it has to come in like this canvas environment. You see the top left canvas, it has to be, the canvas prefab has to be part of a canvas environment. It's generally because, so this was deleted. If we drag this in, if we had it without canvas environment, we find this is all grayed out, and when the system adds these later, it kind of comes in with 0 scale, whereas when it's nested, canvas environment is grayed out, but you can manipulate the canvas top. This technically is the canvas that will spawn, whereas this one doesn't have that environment. These are grayed and you can't, there's not a lot you can do with it unless it's nested. So that's why you need it to create the canvas prefab from a nested canvas, and that will give it this canvas environment base. Okay, so once you have that, add a UI widget. Now what these are references to the canvas. It finds its own canvas. Anything you add to it, like text, you have a reference to it. There's some scaling data, off-screen data, range text for specific texts for certain tasks. Range is the only really one. effect datas, text datas, things that will affect your texts. So let's add a text. Okay, which way around? Add a new text. Now this is going to be a star, all right? So bold, whatever you want this to be. Change these later. What I also wanted to do is add a UI image. Now, so actually the text could go up here. Essentially align it. Okay, now with the images you have sprites. Any sprite obviously can be added to an image. Here's one I kind of made in Paint 3D. Okay, I made this star on a transparent canvas. Yeah, I mean, you can use anything, that's the point, any artwork that you want as a sprite. So we set to a sprite 2D, make these single and apply. Okay, so that's just importing the star shape. So on this image, now apply the star shape to the image. Whoops. Okay, so that's it. That's created a canvas. Now, if you ever want to change these, like the text, you don't actually have to do anything at this stage. These are just for like more advanced manipulation. You have this canvas. That's fine. So delete the base on there that was being used for the prefab examples. Go to Display Manager. Now for these targets, I was fiddling about with them earlier, so there's not one there. It was marker. Now we've got this new canvas that we can rename as star. Okay, so we go to Display Manager and we add star to where the target was. Now what we should find is that all the off-screen markers are now using this star. There they all are. It's kind of how it works. You've got the offset set out. So that's just showing you how you can use anything. I mean, it's quite simple to switch back. The old marker is as simple as going to Display Manager and putting marker instead of star. That's how you change different markers. These have ranges on them, doesn't matter. We could add a range to star. Seeing as it's setting the range for these ones, you can add another Text Mesh Pro. Let's put this one in the middle. Okay, it's got this text in the middle. Can change the border. It's in black. Okay, now how we set this range is we just drag it into here. Okay, we could have renamed it here, it doesn't matter. Oh, whoops. Oh, let's rename it then. Range text. Drag that into range text. That's now set. So if we're using somewhere, it's telling it on the target, it's telling it to set the range. So that should just work now. See the range, we didn't put a range format on them, so it looks weird. So we'll put a range format together. Range display data, there's only actually one, which is kind of just, it's just a little thing that says put meters after it in one decimal place. Okay, so that's not too bad. That's how you set your stars up with. So you can see it's quite easy to create these new canvases and manipulate them. Anyway, thanks for watching, mate.